Wahi, Rilwan Ahmed. um, Oda Orumbiga, the pot. What does that mean? Are you swearing at me in your language, dude? Like that's not nice. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, I'm sorry for those who waited for me. It seems like there are people who are very impatient. But I'm here now. Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. Um, this is a pretty decent Fight Night card. Maybe it's because like we've been fed a lot of horrible stuff. So we appreciate the average cards. But yeah, nonetheless, Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. Playboy, what up, my guy? You are live, yeah, man. Welcome to the stream, my guy. Um, I was a bit late, 1 minute late, and there was a guy who was talking in his own language. I felt like he was swearing at me because I was late, so I apologize. I apologize for being late. To that guy who actually ended up leaving, I apologize, man. Even though I'm pretty sure you were swearing at me. So let's get to the fight. Max Griffin versus Curtis. Lucas Nduli. Welcome, my guy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I mean, like, it was wild to actually experience. So, so Max Griffin. I don't know. Max Griffin has Max Griffin ever been good though? At this particular point in time, it's kind of hard to actually quantify how this fight is going to play out on Max Griffin's side because I don't feel like Max Griffin is particularly good at a lot of things. I'm actually even still surprised that he was able to actually be a veteran in the UFC, considering that I don't feel like he's achieved much. Playboy, bro, next month I will be in South Africa for holiday. Let's wrestle. I've only now started like exercising, but you know what? We'll link up. Maybe, hopefully, I'll make a plan to actually meet up. That would be actually awesome. Where in South Africa are you going? Actually, um, sorry about that. I'm on a stream. We'll talk about it at the end of the stream. Let me actually try and break down this particular fight. So, Chris Curtis, even though bro, I go all in. um, let's talk after the stream once I'm done breaking down the fights. Chris Curtis is the better of the two in all honesty. I feel like Chris Curtis has been undersized. Cape Town, man, that's really far, but we'll talk. So I feel like Chris Curtis has been undersized at middleweight. I think he should have been at welterweight for the majority of his career. I genuinely don't understand why he has been fighting at middleweight for such a long period of time. Look at the results that Joaquin Buckley has had moving down. I feel like he would have had much more success had he fought at welterweight for the majority of his career. But better late than never. But in this situation, I don't know. I don't think it's better late than never. I mean, I feel like it's late at this point. As far as reach, I don't feel like either of them have that much of a reach advantage. I feel like Max Griffin is going to have like a point five reach advantage, which I don't think is going to play any type of role in the outcome of this particular fight. As far as let me see. As far as finishing ability, both of them are not particularly good at finishing fights. Chris Curtis has a 58% finishing rate. Max Griffin has a okay, pretty not okay. I think also a 58% finishing rate. Wow, pretty even. That's kind of sad. I actually expected more from Max Griffin for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, as far as output, Chris Curtis throws significantly more than Max Griffin, twice as much as Max Griffin. But the only disadvantage is that what do you call him? Chris Curtis gets hit a lot, but it's probably because he was undersized at middleweight and fighting people with probably a longer reach than he had. But still, like he gets touched up a little bit more than Max Griffin. Also, it could be because there are a lot of strikers at middleweight. So, and Chris Curtis obviously is a striker. There's no threat of the takedown. So, a lot of the people who fight him are more comfortable trying to actually hit him. But I think as far as technical striking, I would give the advantage to Chris Curtis. Um, but I don't know. I feel like defensively, as far as defensive striking, I think Max Griffin is a little bit more is a little bit better defensively as far as defensive striking. Um, as far as grappling, obviously, Chris Curtis is not a grappler, so but he's really good at defending takedowns. I mean, Max Griffin could actually implement the grappling, and it could make the whole situation very interesting. But I don't know, man. Both of them are basically past their prime. I'm just going off of who I think is a little bit better, even past their prime, which I think is Chris Curtis. It could be a lot closer than even I'm anticipating because on the feed, like I said, even though Chris Curtis has a lot of volume, like he also gets hit a lot, so that could actually impact the outcome of this particular fight. Especially because I do feel like Chris Curtis is a little bit more responsible. Max Griffin, I mean, Max Griffin is a little bit more responsible defensively, but it could also be because of the level of competition. Um, Especially when you consider the people that Chris Curtis has been fighting at middleweight. I mean, it makes sense that he was getting hit a lot. So, but I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, my subscribers and I are going with Chris Curtis. I'm not particularly, I'm not very confident in this. I see a lot of people are actually betting on him. I think it's minus 300, minus 300 favorite or something to that effect. Which is quite interesting. But for me personally, I'm not very confident in Chris Curtis. Um, because of the lack of wrestling and mixing it up, I don't know. Maybe Max Griffin might actually surprise us. Uh, Lucas Ntuli. I think him dropping to a lower weight class after getting KO'd a few months ago, and his weaker defense put him at a big risk of getting chinned. He's also a bit stiff, and Griffin is a bit faster. You know what? That's a really nice analysis, but I mean, how do you lose to Michael Chiesa though? Like, he lost to Michael Chiesa. I will give him that like he actually beat Jeremiah Wells. Am I right? Yeah, he actually beat the Jeremiah Wells. You know what? He went to a unanimous decision with Michael Morales. Okay, okay. Let's dive deeper into his previous opponents. I actually had forgotten these fights. He went to a split decision with Team Means. I mean, lost a split decision to Neil Magny. I mean, there's no shame in that. Um, and then who else? Carlos Condit. He went to a decision with Carlos Condit, but still won. Actually, I don't want to go too far back in his career. He beat the Song Kenan via TKO in the first round. That's kind of impressive. Okay, let me end at Song Kenan because going too far back will be insignificant because those are old wins. People have improved. So let's just look at the recent ones. Okay, I mean, beating Song Kenan in 2021, I think it's kind of impressive considering, I mean, Song Kenan was not past his prime at that particular point in time. Um, Beating Carlos Condit, I mean, you can take it however you take it. I feel like I don't know how to feel about that. It was also in 2021. Losing to Neil Magny in 2022, not too horrible. I mean, Neil Magny was able to upset like a prospect in Mike Malott, so not too terrible. Beating Tim Means, I guess not too terrible, especially in 2022. Um, Going to a decision with Michael Morales, even though he lost, I mean, that's actually kind of impressive. But obviously, this is a Michael Morales who was still improving. It's not the knockout artist that we are actually seeing right now. I think Michael Morales was still very early in his UFC career when he fought Max Griffin, but still going to a decision with Michael Morales deserves respect. What do you call it? Beating Jeremiah Wells. I mean, Jeremiah Wells. I don't know if Max Griffin was the one who actually stopped Jeremiah Wells's win streak. Let me actually check. But losing to Michael Chiesa in 2024, man, that's kind of iffy for me, man. Like it's kind of iffy. Okay, no, it wasn't him who ended the streak. It was actually is it Carlston Harris? Yes, it's Carlston Harris who actually ended Jeremiah Wells's win streak. But I mean, losing to Michael Chiesa for me is kind of like ah. But you know what? After looking at the people that he's actually beat and went to a decision with, I'm going to say like this is one of those risky fights. I'm still picking Chris Curtis. I still feel like Chris Curtis looks significantly better. Not significantly, but I think he looks a little bit better in fights. Um, I don't know if the odds that I'm seeing are accurate, but like I think minus 325 favorite is too much for Chris Curtis at this point in his career, especially because from I haven't seen him in welterweight, especially in recent years. So and I never like anything, any movement, any major movement from what do you call them, older fighters, you know. So let's look at Chris Curtis's previous opponents. Lost to Roman Kopylov via TKO in the third round. I mean, to be honest, for him to be actually be able to last that long against Roman Kopylov, I think deserves a bit of respect. Roman Kopylov is a pretty decent striker. Um, he went to a split decision with Brandon Allen. I mean, once again, I can't say Brandon Allen is not a scrub. I mean, he was on a win streak up until he fought. Was it Hernandez? Anthony Hernandez, was it? I'm not sure if it was Anthony Hernandez or Nasruddin Imavov. I think it was Anthony Hernandez. So I think that deserves a little bit of respect. He was on a streak. He actually beat Chris Curtis. So losing to him is not too bad. Chris Curtis beat Marc Andre Barriault via split decision. I mean, Barriault just got a knockout, so maybe that's not too bad. He lost to Imavov. Obviously, he was contesting it. Um, free Didi. Lost to Kelvin Gastelum. Beat Joaquin Buckley. Wow. Okay. He actually TKO'd Joaquin Buckley. Okay. I'm going with Chris Curtis. So Chris Curtis, I'm not going to go too far back. In 2022, Chris Curtis. Okay, let me actually go to 2021 because I did the same thing for the other guy. Lost to Jack Hermanson via unanimous decision. I mean, obviously, the wrestling and everything like that, mixing it up. Beat Vieira. Okay, I think Chris Curtis has faced better competition in my opinion. And I mean, even though he got knocked out in his last fight, getting to the third round with Roman Kopylov deserves a bit of respect on Chris Curtis's part, especially at his age right now. So I mean, I'll give him that, but I will still say that I feel like this fight is going to be very close. Um, I'm not as confident as a lot of these people are. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Chris Curtis. My subscribers are going to go with Chris Curtis. This concludes Playboy. Um, I don't know, man. You know what? Create a post on the community section, and then we'll talk, and then maybe we'll exchange details and stuff like that. If you're truly coming to South Africa, so you'll let me know. I'll check my email. It's somewhere on the channel. Oh, in the about section of the channel. So you can check the email and send me an email there. If you want to join me, I'm going to break down the next fight, which is Jake Matthews versus Cheating Jokwani. So if you want to join me on that one, click on the channel, go to the live section up at the top, click on the live section, and then I'm going to be breaking down that fight now. For this one, I'm out. Okay, before I leave, let me actually respond to your comments. But I've been responding to your comments though. Yeah, I think I'm done. So let's go to the next fight. If you want to continue breaking down fights with me, and if you want to watch previous breakdowns, they're on the live section of the channel. So let's go to Jake Matthews versus Cheating Joke One. I love and appreciate all of you. Deuces.